Happy Wednesday! Welcome to the Second Chance Kitchen. I'm Christy and this is What's Cooking Wednesday. So let's get to it. Okay, so today's recipe comes from this big tin box. I paid $2 for this sucker, $2, and it is pretty full. I mean, it's not completely full, but it's pretty full of handwritten recipes. I've gone through some of them. This is where today's recipe comes from, and let me pull it out. I had to stick a little pack of granola for the kids so I don't lose it where it's supposed to go, because I like to put them back where I found them from. Alright, so today's recipe is homemade granola. Here's the recipe. So homemade granola, I've never made granola before. If you've made granola, then let me know. Share your recipe down below. This is one thing I don't think I have ever made, like homemade granola bars or anything like that. So this looks like it's probably going to be a pretty simple, basic recipe. I had to actually look up what kind of oats to use, because I like to use regular old-fashioned oats, to use quick cook oats. It says, I mean, especially if you're going to bake it, just use regular good old-fashioned oats. So that's what I did, not the quick ones. The good old-fashioned oats are going to give you a more chewy texture, I guess. So that's what I bought, was old-fashioned. So it calls for 4 cups of rolled oats, a half a cup of sesame seeds, a half a cup of sunflower seeds, half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 cup of honey or maple syrup. We're going to use honey today. 1/4 cup of safflower or corn oil. I would like to have gotten safflower oil because it's a little more healthy. I bought corn oil because the store I went to did not have safflower oil. 1 teaspoon of vanilla and a half a cup of raisins. We're just going to do regular old raisins today. I didn't get fancy and get the golden ones or anything like that. So here are the instructions, pretty easy. Mix all dry ingredients in a large mixing bowl. Mix all wet ingredients and add to dry. Mix thoroughly to an even consistency and spread in a shallow baking pan. Bake at 325 for 30 to 40 minutes. Stir regularly every 10 minutes. So that's what we're gonna make today, homemade granola. So really not anything major. There's the recipe so you can see the handwriting. She's got nice handwriting. Very easy to read. All right, so let's get to making some granola. All right, hair's pulled back, apron's on, hands are washed. I have already put in my 4 cups of oats in this bowl. I think today. All right, so now we need, so this is 4 cups of old-fashioned oats, not the quick oats, old-fashioned oats. We need a half a cup of sesame seeds. So I've already, trying to look, there's something there. Right here, sesame seeds. I didn't get the toasted ones or anything. They're just plain old sesame seeds. And I was like, where are they? I was looking like where the other nuts and stuff are at the store. They were down where the international foods were. Go figure. A half a cup of sunflower seeds. Now these, I did not get raw sunflower seeds. I would have liked to have done that. So these are already roasted and salted. So half a cup of that. Then we have a half a teaspoon of sea salt, and since my sea salt is a grinder, I went ahead and did that ahead of time, so I wouldn't have to sit here and do it on with you guys. So a half a teaspoon of sea salt. That is the pink salt, because that's what we use, is the pink sea salt. Let's see, that's it for dry ingredients. So, all right, let's get that in a little mix. What kind of granola do y'all like? Got that in a quick mix. Let's do our wet ingredients. Put that to the side. Got a smaller bowl. So we're gonna need let's pour the raisins in. We'll go ahead and do that, get that in there. I'm using the right one, and when I measured the oats and everything, I used the dry ingredients cup. So don't come at me today. You could come at me any other day, not today though. All right, let's do the oil and then we'll do the honey. That way the honey will hopefully just slip on right out. So we need a 1/4 cup of safflower or corn oil. Again, I'm using corn oil. I wish I had safflower because it's healthier, but that's just how it's gonna go today. So there's our 1/4 cup. Now what do I do with corn oil? I don't normally use corn oil. I guess I should have put the raisins in there. What was I thinking? 1/4 cup of honey. You can also, like it says, maple syrup is also a good one. And I think my kids would, I don't know, they might like it maple syrup. They don't like maple syrup like on pancakes and stuff, but they do like maple flavored things. Does that make sense? I was gonna use a whisk, but since I put my raisins in there, we're just gonna set that to the side. 1 teaspoon of regular vanilla. All right, and that's it for ingredients. Let's give that a little stir. I'll just use this, it's already in there. Mix it, mix it, mix it. Try to break up those. I guess I should have done a better job of breaking up the raisins, but I used a nice healthy half a cup of raisins. All right, so I'd say that's pretty mixed. Let's put it all into the dry. Like it says, add to dry. And then it says, mix thoroughly to an even consistency. So let's pour that in there. Doesn't seem like a whole lot of liquid for 4 cups of oats. Then again, I've never made homemade granola, so trial and error. All right, let's see if I can get this mixed together. Again, put your raisins in with your dry stuff. Don't be a doofus like me and do it wrong. When it comes to granola bars, let me know, are you a crunchy granola bar fan or do you like the chewy granola bars? Because personally, I like crunchy granola. Spread in a shallow baking pan. It does not say to spray the pan or to coat it or anything, so I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. All right, I think, okay, this looks a little better. It's still really crumbly, but it's not like sticky. What do y'all think? I have this small jelly roll pan, although I can probably buy a bigger one now because I have a bigger oven. This one is 15 by 10 inches. So normally when I cook on this thing, I line it. I'm just gonna dump it on, see how it comes out. So dump. Maybe I needed a bigger one. A bigger one. It's gonna be awfully full. And you have to stir it every 10 minutes. This is gonna be kind of like a honey vanilla granola, which is good. I like putting granola on my yogurt. I get the lactose free because thank you to my kids, I can't have dairy anymore. I can. I'm not gonna say I can't. I can, but it doesn't like me. Okay, there we have it. Homemade granola on a 15 by 10 inch. You could probably have, if you have a bigger cookie sheet or something, of course you want like sides on it because you're gonna have to mix it and you don't want it falling everywhere. So that's why I got this thing. My only other pan was a 9 by 13. Just a regular 9 by 13, like a cake pan, but let's see how this turns out. I will stir it every 10 minutes, like the instructions say. There's the recipe one more time for handwriting purposes. Nice and neat. I love it when it's nice and neat, but I also love it when I can't read it because it's a challenge. And I ran across a couple of those yesterday. I'm like, what in the world does this say? But that's the fun part. There you have it. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you all have a very blessed day. Be safe, be kind and loving, and I will see you later on. All right, y'all have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.